Hey guys, today we're going to talk about percent proportion. We were talking about percent of a number, so this is a similar, but it turns into an equation, and our job is to figure out a mystery number. So let's start with some vocabulary. Start with the word proportion. Proportion. We've kind of talked about that before. It's an equation that shows two ratios, are equal to each other. Okay, and what you've seen this before when you were dealing with, let's say, equivalent fractions. So we know that 1/2 is equal to 2/4. So that's a proportion because both those ratios will simplify down to 1/2. All right. Of course, the ones we're going to solve are going to have a blank spot. Okay. So that's the fun bit of being math detectives. So let's talk about a percent proportion. So a percent proportion has the two ratios, but each ratio has its own job, okay? So ratio 1, it compares part to whole. Change my color here. Part to whole. And we talked about that back with ratios when you were looking at, let's say you had I remember a question off of the test was a tree lot, and 3 out of every 10 trees were orange trees. So the part was the orange trees, 3, 10 was the total trees on the lot. So, well, that was reduced to lowest terms, of course. Then the second ratio, this one is a percent written as a fraction. That is equivalent, or that is equal to, the first ratio. Okay, so again, let's do a little illustration off to the side here. Let's say that we have 1/4. Okay, so with the 1 is the part. What portion out of everything you have represents? That's what the 1 is. The denominator is what's considered the whole. So 1 out of 4, all right? Then I know that 1/4 is the same as 25%. How do I know that? Well, done a lot of times. So 1/4 is 25 cents out of $1, so on and so forth. So what I have on the other side would be my percent number, 25% over 100. So it's also saying that I have 25 out of 100. So it's also talking about a part versus whole. So we kind of talked about this before, where we have to put, when we did our ratio tables, is we have to put same labels directly across from each other in the ratio table, okay? So we're using that same idea. So I have a little chart here on the bottom that we're going to be filling in a little bit. So we have, how do you compare part and whole? We are going to talk about fractions, ratios, and percents. So if I have a fraction 2/5, the 2 is considered the part, and the 5 is considered the whole. and then it asks, what do you call the part? Well, its job is the numerator, right? It's in the top of the fraction. And then what would we call the whole? Well, that would be the bottom of a fraction, which is a denominator. Okay. So then it says, using the information in the first ratio, fill in the others. And remember, we have 3 ways to write a ratio. So we have 2 to 5. Or we can use the colon. And funny thing is, no matter how I write it, I read it the same way, 2 to 5. Now, some people will argue and say, no, you don't read a fraction as 2 to 5. Well, you can, but we tend to call it 2/5. Okay. So here's where the mystery comes. We've got our part is in the top of the fractions. Our whole is in the bottom of the fractions. So there's got to be a relationship between this 2/5 and the 100. So again, the mystery number, the box, is going to be the part number. What part of 100 is it? And 100 is the whole. So it includes, as big as the number gets, is 100. Okay. So what we can do is try to scale up or scale back to get from one ratio to the next. So the only place that I have 2 numbers is in the denominator. So I'm trying to think, what can I do to 5 to make it 100? That's right, I can multiply it by 20. So if I do the same thing in the numerator, that 20 times 2 is going to give me 40. So what I can conclude is that that 40 is a percent number because it's over 100. So 40% of 5, remember that's the whole number, is 2, and that's your part number. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go to my next screen, and I'm going to talk about ways that we can solve that percent proportion, that what goes into the box. Okay, so I'm going to do this writing on the right side. Now for you, you might have this on your first page underneath that little diagram that we just filled in. Otherwise, I'm going to put it over here. So we're going to talk about how to solve a proportion. And the key thing is we have to begin by understanding who is the part, who is the whole, and who is the percent. Okay? So we're going to identify the part. What number is the part? The whole. And then the percent. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you a little something to look out for. If you hear the word what, that is your unknown. Boop. Okay, so keep that in mind, all right? All right, next, once we've identified them, we're going to place them into that percent proportion. So we're going to substitute. Gosh, this is such big kid stuff right now we're doing. This is awesome. Substitute the values into the percent proportion. P didn't want to write. That's weird. Okay, so it looks like this. I'm going to give bump, bump, and it always has 100 at the bottom on the right side because that's where the percent number goes. Okay, so we're going to put the number that represents the part over the number that represents the whole or the total, right? And then that's going to be equal to the percent value over 100. So we're going to then scale up or scale back to find the missing value. Okay. And that's what we're going to be doing today. Okay, so let's get some practice going. So first thing we need to do is identify. 75 is 15% of what number? So I'm going to get my frame in. Let's get my frame. For each one of these, it's going to have the same frame. 75 is 15% of what number? Okay, so, I see an easy one. Percent. Bink. He's going to go there. 75 is what? 15% of what number? So that would make 75 would have to be the part. So that's going to go here. And then we have a mystery of what number. So the box is actually going to go here. Okay? So that's going to be our whole number. So what we are searching for is the whole number. Okay? So let's see. I'm going to have to go in a weird direction on this one, right? Because I want to go towards the box. So I'm going to see what can I do to 15 to make it 75. Oh, yeah. I multiply by 5. So I'm going to multiply 100 by 5, and that's going to give me my mystery number of 500. So what I can write for my answer is 75 is 15% of 500. I'm going to make him different. Boom, boom, boom. And that's my answer. Ooh, that was kind of exciting. That mystery was solved rather quickly. Okay, so let me get my frame in over here. Boom, 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 boom. Beep, beep. 9 is 36% of what number? Ooh, again, the percent number is so easy. He's going to go over the 100. Let's see, 9 is what percent of what number? So that means that 9 is the part number because it's of another number. So it's a comparison. So 9 is the same as the 36%, okay? Which means of what number is our mystery number, our whole number. That's pretty cool. Okay, so let's see how we're going to do this one. We got the same problem. We got to go towards the mystery box. We're going to go this way. So we're going to go, what can I do to get from 36 to 9? Oh, that's easy. It's division. I'm going to divide by 4. So I'm going to divide by 4. And 100 divided by 4 is 25. So we can say 9 is 36% of 25. Yeah. God, I'm feeling smarter by the second. I love math mysteries. All right, 7 is 70% of what number? At this point, you might be going, you know what? Each one of these problems sound kind of similar. You're right. But we can use this no matter what is missing. Okay, that's the cool thing. So, got to get my 100 in my frame. And then again, easiest thing in the universe to find is the percent number. Okay. And then we've got 7 and 70 go together because 7, forgot to mention this, is usually means equals in math. So 7 equals 70, that means they're on the same level. Ooh, how's that for an insight? There we go. We've got 7 here, and then of what number? That's our whole number, right? Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so then we have to see how are we going to do this. So again, we have to go this direction. So I'm going to go this way. What do I do to 70 to make it 7? Divide by 10. So 100 divided by 10 is 10. So 7/10 is the same as 7/100. So I would say 7 is 70% of 10. Ooh, this is cool. All right, got another one. Okay, over 100. Got it. So 7 is 35% of what number? All right, so that would easy. Let's get that percent. That's going to be our over the 100. And then 7 is the same as 35, so that's our part number because it's got to be opposite him. And then the only thing left is of what number, so that's got to be our mystery number is our whole number. So again, I got to figure out, let's see, I want to go towards the mystery box, so I got to go this direction. 35, oh, I'm going to scale back by dividing by 5 to get to 7, so I'm going to divide this by 5, and that gives me 20. So again, we have the proportion 7/20 is the same as the proportion 35/100. So if I simplify 35/100, I would get 7/20. That's all we're really doing. So we've got 7 is 35% of 20. All right, we got one more, and then finito. All right, a horse consumes approximately 2% of its body weight in hay each day. If a horse consumes 18 pounds of hay each day, how much does it weigh? So because I've got all these words, I am going to write, let's see, hay and weight is kind of what I was reading in this problem. The horse consumes, he eats hay, and it's a portion of its body weight. So how much it weighs determines how much hay it's going to eat. Okay, so that's going to help me keep things together. So I'm going to do boom, 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 boom. So percent again, super simple to discover. Oops, forgot part of my frame. Slipping. There we go. So we've got 2%, so that's got to go over the 100. So the horse consumes approximately 2% of its body weight in hay each day. If a horse consumes 18 pounds of hay, so that 18 pounds corresponds to the 2%, because both of them deal with hay. This is how much does the horse weigh. So that's what's our mystery number. Okay, so remember how we're going to do this. We're going to go towards the mystery box. So let's see, how to become 18. Oh, I would multiply by 9. So I'm going to multiply this by 9. So 100 times 9 is 900. Oh my goodness. So what I get is a horse, or the horse, weighs, weights. Nope, I don't think so. Let's clean that up. Weighs 900 pounds. So again, when it gets into the word problems, write the two things that are being compared. Okay? Percent number always is on top, so whatever they're talking about that goes with the percent number, that's the first word we're going to write, and underneath it will be the second word. And then that'll help you track, just like we were doing before in our ratio tables. All right? There you go, guys. Enjoy. I'll see you on Monday.